Good afternoon. Welcome to the U.S. Department of Education, Office of Special Education Programs, Applicant Orientation for 84.325K, Preparation of Early Intervention and Special Education Personnel Serving Children with Disabilities who have high-intensity needs. My name is Sun-Young An, and I'm the competition manager for this grant competition. Next page, please. The information that I'm about to present is for guidance only and cannot replace reading the notice inviting applications. Therefore, please read the entire notice inviting applications, the instructions, and all other related statutes, regulations, and references. Also, for additional information related to submitting an application, please review the recorded webinar titled Applying for the Office of Special Education Programs Discretionary Grants. Next slide. This inviting applications for 84.325K was published in the Federal Register on April 19, 2023. Applications are due no later than 11 p.m. Eastern Time on June 13th, 2023. Next slide. The application package contains the Dear Applicant letter, the notice inviting applications, the Federal Register notice, and the grants.gov system submission procedures and tips for applicants, the priority description and selection criteria, general information, and required forms. Required forms can be found on the grants.gov 84.325K listing. Next slide. The purpose of the 325K grant is the same as the previous year. It is to help address state-identified needs of personnel preparation and to ensure that the personnel have the skills and knowledge that are scientifically based. This year, we have $6 million and $750,000 available for the 325K grant, and this can fund up to 27 awards. Next slide. We have made several changes to the 325K grant this year. So first, you may have noticed that in the priority title, related services are not included. If you have a related services program and want to apply for an OSEP training grant, you can apply under assistance listing number 84.325R, which will be published at a later date. And last year, there were two absolute priorities within the 325K grant, with a second absolute priority targeting minority serving institutions. This year, the MSI priority will be published as a separate priority with a listing number 84.325M, and this will also be published at a later date. When you read the NIA, you will also notice that there are changes to the degree requirements. This year, the degree program eligibility for the 325K grant is extended to include bachelor's, certification, master's, and education specialist degree programs in special education or early intervention. Another major change is that there is no requirement for an interdisciplinary project. However, if you have an existing interdisciplinary project that partners with a related service program to prepare early intervention or special education personnel, you are allowed to apply under this year's 325K grant. Next page. It is also important to note the departmental priority because this language is embedded throughout the NIA. The department places a high priority in increasing the number of personnel who provide services to children with disabilities, including the number of multilingual personnel and personnel from racially and ethnically diverse backgrounds. Next page. The absolute priority of the 325K grant is the preparation of early intervention and special education personnel serving children with high intensity needs, children with disabilities who have high intensity needs. Again, the eligible degree programs include bachelor's, certification, master's, or educational specialist degree levels. Next slide. For the purpose of this priority, we define high intensity needs as a complex array of disabilities, or the needs of children with these disabilities require intensive and individualized interventions. And here is an example of a complex array of disabilities, including multiple disabilities, significant cognitive disabilities, significant sensory disabilities, significant autism, significant emotional disabilities, or significant learning disabilities, including dyslexia. Next slide. I said that certification programs are allowed to apply under 325K. By certification, we mean programs of study that lead to state licensure, endorsement, or certification that qualifies graduates to teach or provide services to children with disabilities. Many universities made certificate programs available as part of their continuing education programs, but programs that do not lead to a state licensure, endorsement, or state certification do not qualify under this grant competition. Next slide. This year, there is one competitive preference in 325K. We will give 3 additional points to applicants that have not had an active 325K grant in the last 5 years. Applicants are institutions of higher education, not a department or a program within an institution. A grant is considered active until the end of the grant funding period, including any extension period. Next slide. Again, eligible applicants are institutions of higher education or a private nonprofit organization that houses a university early intervention or special education training program. Next slide. And applicants can propose a project under Focus Area A, preparing personnel to serve infants, toddlers, and preschool age children with disabilities, or Focus Area B, preparing personnel to serve school-age children with disabilities. And OSEM may fund out-of-rank order high-quality applications to ensure that projects are funded across both focus areas. Next slide. The 325K grant program defines a scholar as a student who is enrolled in a program that leads to certification, licensure, endorsement needed to serve IDA eligible children with disabilities. And scholars are not those individuals who is pursuing degrees in general education or early childhood education. And upon graduation, scholars are expected to be able to be employed in a position that serves children with disabilities for a minimum of 51% of their time or caseload. Lastly, scholars must be able to fulfill service obligation requirements, and you can find the information about service obligation on this link, and it is important to understand these requirements before you apply. Next slide. A 325K application is funded up to $250,000 per year for up to 5 years. Over the entire project period, 65% of the award and a minimum must be used for scholar support. And applicants may use up to the first 12 months of the period or up to $100,000 of the first budget period for planning. And applicants proposing to use year one for program development must ensure that 65% of the total award minus funds allocated for program development will be used for scholar support. Next slide. It is also important to read the NIA to understand how you can design high-quality scholar support for the project. Scholar support does not need to be uniform for all scholars and should be customized for individual scholars' needs. Scholar support should include considerations for all costs associated with the cost of attendance, even if that means enrolling fewer scholars. We want quality scholar support that will lead scholars to complete the programs. And some examples you may consider in designing scholar support include tuition and fees, student health insurance, allowance for books, materials, and supplies, an allowance for miscellaneous personal expenses, allowance for dependent care such as childcare, an allowance for room and board, travel in conjunction with training or conference, and stipends to support scholars' completion of the program. And projections for scholar support also should consider tuition increase and cost of living. Next slide. In this section, I will talk about the application narrative and selection criteria, required project assurances, and general requirements. Again, it is really important to read the entire NIA, and this presentation cannot replace reading the NIA. Next slide. There are 5 areas of selection criteria we ask applicants to address in the application narrative. Those are significance of the project, quality of project services, quality of project personnel and quality of management plan, adequacy of resources, and quality of project evaluation. Next slide. Up to 10 points are available for the significance section. And in determining the quality of this section, we will consider the following factors: how the project will address the need in proposed preparation focus area to prepare personnel who are fully qualified to serve children with disabilities who have high intensity needs, and how the proposed project will increase the number of personnel in the proposed preparation focus area. And finally, how the applicant has successfully graduated students in their program, including students with disabilities, multilingual students, and students who are from racially and ethnically diverse backgrounds, including data disaggregated by disability status, race, national origin, and primary languages, and also the number of students who have graduated in the last 5 years. Next slide. The quality of project services is where you will describe the meat of the project, and up to 35 points are available for this section. And if your project will have a planning year, this is where you will describe your planning activities. We also want to see your recruitment and retention plans in this section. You should also describe how the project will help scholars build the necessary competencies in this section. Next slide. And please note that applicants should engage in focused outreach recruitment to increase the number of applicants from groups that are traditionally underrepresented in the field, including applicants with disabilities, multilingual applicants, and applicants from racially and ethnically diverse backgrounds. However, the selection criteria for admission the applicant intends to use must ensure equal access and treatment of all applicants seeking admission to the program, and must be consistent with applicable law, including federal civil rights law. Next slide. And up to 20 points are available for the quality of project personnel and management plan. In this section, we want to see how the project director and other key project personnel are qualified to prepare scholars' project's preparation focus area, and how the project director and other key project personnel will manage the components of the project, and also whether the time commitments of the project director and other key project personnel are adequate to meet the objectives of the proposed project. Next slide. And up to 20 points are available for the adequacy of the resources section. And this section is where you can elaborate on your plans for scholar support, as well as the adequacy of your budget. Next slide. And lastly, up to 15 points are available for the project evaluation section. Next slide. And there are several project assurances that are required under 325K. And for that, please read the NIA for the required project assurance, including the service obligation requirements, an assurance that all the course syllabi will be provided if requested by OSEP, and the IDA statutory requirements. In the application, applicants are required to submit a table that lists the project's required coursework that includes a course title, brief description, learning goals, and relevant state or national professional organization personnel standards for each course, and 4 exemplar course syllabi required by the degree program that reflect evidence-based practices across various content areas. Additional project assurances emphasize the 65% scholar support requirement. Also, please ensure that scholar support costs are not based on the condition that the scholar works for the university. And applicants also should ensure that a revised budget will be submitted if the project plan for recruitment or enrollment changes. Next slide. And once funded, grantees are required to attend our annual project directors meeting. And funded projects are also required to participate in cross-project collaboration and learning opportunities. And if you build a website for the project, please ensure that the website is accessible, and the funded projects must meet the annual scholar data reporting requirements. Next slide. And here are general requirements related to the employment of individuals with disabilities, engagement with individuals with disabilities, and equal access. Next slide. In this last section, I will talk about application submission tips and ineligible applications, and share some helpful resources. Next slide. Applications must be submitted electronically. We do not take paper applications or applications via email. The due date is again 11:59 p.m. in Eastern Time on June 13th, 2023. And all application sections and attachments must be uploaded in PDF read-only format. Next slide. And submission tips: please register early on grants.gov. Also make sure that your SAM registration is current, and submit early, and also verify that your submission went through in the system. Next slide. And please follow the formatting requirements and recommendations. And you can find that information in the application package. Next slide. And ineligible applications are duplicate applications and applications that did not meet the application deadline or applications that did not address the priority. Next slide. And I want to introduce some helpful resources as you prepare your project applications. Please read the NI in its entirety. I cannot emphasize that more. You may use this pre-application webinar as an additional resource. We also developed a frequently asked questions and answers document and a brochure for the 325K grant program. And those two resources will be available on the page where you can find this recorded webinar. OSEP has a discretionary grant program database, and you can also sort through previously funded 325K grants in the database if you want to see some example synopsis of previously funded projects. And you can, the link is on the screen. Next slide. And this concludes the pre-application information webinar for the FY23 84.325K grant. And I'm the competition manager, and please feel free to email me at the email address on the screen if you have any questions. Thank you.